You are listening to the Push Media Podcast Network.
This is good shit.
I know I laced it with blood.
Me and Pusha T and the rest of the gang here at Good Music would like to wish all of those celebrating a happy Hanukkah. I hope you have the best Hanukkah. I hope this Hanukkah kicks every other Hanukkah's ass. Kicks it so hard it's out of Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Ha ha ha, Old Testament joke. I hope you have the best Hanukkah. Me and Pusha T and everyone else who ain't with it hopes you have the best Hanukkah as it kicks off. I hope your Hanukkah is so great that by some loophole, because, the old part of the good book seemed a tad bit obsessed with rules, I hope by some loophole, maybe it's an astrological calendar leap year or some type of thing, because you know actually what year it is. I hope somehow you end up with 2 gifts each day of Hanukkah for a grand total of 16. I hope that's how good of a Hanukkah you have, and I would like to take this moment to remind everyone who is a fan of Kanye West still, or is arguing, hey, he has some good points, or still watches or subscribes to, in the almighty hell if that is a reality for you, what is going on, Nick Fuente's YouTube channel. If you are someone who's still doing all of that, I hope you have to watch people have the greatest Hanukkah of their lives. You sad, silly, dumb, ignorant bitch. I hope you have to watch the Jews have the happiest Hanukkah ever. Now, wasn't that an emotional roller coaster of a sentence? I'm coming at it from a great perspective. I'm chugging along as the good guy, and then all of a sudden you say, the Jews, and people are like, whoa. Because usually that's followed up with, not a good idea. You know what I mean? But it's weird because they're one of the only groups where if you call the group what the group's called, all of a sudden everyone's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? Put your arm down. You know what I mean? It's interesting, but it does happen. Because usually one of the main critiques is not like, and then this group owns all of the banks and money, which would be a reason to hate a group. But that's not the case. Sure, they own a lot of it. Sure, you could say if you were looking at a census, if you wanted to use group statistics, you could say, boy, it sure does look like the blacks are disproportionately locked up for the same crimes than their white American counterparts. What's going on with that? Why does that seem like 15% of the population is locked up maybe at a 3 times the rate of the white population? Now, you could ask that question, or you could still be hung up on the fact that I started that point with the blacks, because that's another example of calling a group what the name is and everyone feeling weird for a second. And that's probably, if I had to guess, that's an example of people feeling guilty about something they probably don't need to. But the point of this is that me and Pusha T would like to wish you a happy Hanukkah because, we want to continue to have jobs and make money in Hollywood. So let's talk about one of these Nazi bastards, a 97-year-old woman named Irma Gerd, and I'm sure that's not actually, but it is looking like how it's spelled at least. There was a 97-year-old woman who was found guilty for being a typist in the office of a Nazi camp. Not a big one. Important part of her legal defense. They were saying, everyone here, her lawyers said, listen, it wasn't a big one. We're not talking about the head secretary of Auschwitz. We're talking about a lonely typist, a 16-year-old clerical girl who God knows what she had to endure at that workplace besides just typing. Hope she wasn't like, Mengelev's nurse or whoever the best Nazi chef was in the world, sous chef. I don't know. I didn't need to try a third time. Point of what I'm saying is there was, and I think maybe, and it might be safe to say, the last living Nazi person, this might be the last time we see a Nazi stand trial ever in the world. And it's fitting that it comes to such a weird and strange and kind of sheepish conclusion. Because a 97-year-old woman, just think about this. A 97-year-old woman, because that's how old she would be now, that's how math and time works. Her name is Irma Gerd, even though it's not, but it can't be. It just simply can't be, because if her first name would be Irma Gerd, I was a Nazi. But anyway, so Irma Gerd Furchner, that's the best I can do. I'm sorry. I'll put the link to the article in the show notes, but I'm just going to go with Irma Gerd, deal with it. And it's going to be fun a little bit too. So Irma Gerd was employed as a shorthand typist at a camp when she was about 18 or 19 years old, which probably means under that age at that time. It was World War II. So they probably were lying because people had to work. Everyone was busy. You know what I mean? So Irma Gerd is the first woman to be tried in connection with Nazi war crimes in decades. And that, I know, technically, if you want to say men and women are equal, that shouldn't be noteworthy. But it is kind of like strange, right? Anytime like you read a story about a Nazi today standing trial, and then you find out it's a woman, you're like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting. Admit that to yourself, because that's true. If you want to say that's not the case, stop lying. Why are you always lying? Because we're talking about Nazis. This is the time to be very serious and not make R&B references. So this 97-year-old woman was given a 2-year suspended jail term because, again, if you're not good at math, she doesn't have much time left, which makes me question, why are we going through all of this? Are we sending in like Mossad to swoop up this 97-year-old woman who's been evading capture for decades? This 97-year-old Nazi who somehow has managed to evade the authorities while remaining on the continent of Europe. She didn't even have to make it to South America or Antarctica. Don't look into that part. I'm kidding, never mind. But the point is, this 97-year-old woman couldn't be moving around that much. She couldn't be this Dana Carvey-level master of disguise, right? Well, it turns out this story gets even better. So this woman, 97-year-old Irma Gerd Furchner, she went on the run. There was a discovery that she, I guess someone came across paperwork or something in 2019, and that there was a woman who was a Nazi just living out her years not atoning for her sins or whatever. However, you think about how you should properly make a 80-year-old woman atone. But anyway, I'm just saying slippery slopes are slippery. But this 97-year-old woman, 2 years ago when the story first broke and she was like, fuck, I'm made, this woman who was living in a senior care facility at this time in Poland, she hit the road. She went on the run. She was a band on the run. Are you picturing what I'm describing to you? There was a 80-year-old woman, former Nazi, wanted by the world to stand trial for the execution of Jewish people, her role in it at least, and she was living in a retirement home and went on the run and made it on the road for about 2 weeks before she was finally caught. Part of this whole thing, and I know this is going to sound weird, to me just kind of sounds, quite frankly, simply adorable. Do you know what I mean? Just picture this, and I'm not saying any part of you obviously, you get the disclaimer. But what I am telling you is picture this, a woman in her 80s, not spry, buying hair dye, dyeing her hair in a public bathroom somewhere in Poland. Stupid little silly cop cars that sound like toy cars are just wee-oo, looking up and down the countryside for a babushka who can barely move more than an inch at a time, who used to be a Nazi, or apparently still is. We're going to find out in court. I mean, Mossad was sent to get these people. This woman evaded the authorities, moving at the pace of an 80-year-old woman, which is literally the slowest way you can move and still be alive as a person. That is phenomenal. And then picture the scene for yourself when the authorities finally catch her, I don't know, having lunch at Wendy's real slow or whatever she would be doing. And they're like, all right, come on. And then she does. Doesn't that sound kind of at least a little 5% adorable to you? Imagine you were one of the people in the Wendy's in the countryside of Poland, I'm making up, where you got to watch a 90-year-old female Nazi gracefully get taken away by the funny, silly police because she used to be a Nazi. Think about that and tell me it's not at least a little tiny bit silly. It's fun to think about. Just saying. So Irma Gerd was sentenced to 2 years, and she's probably not going to serve any of it because she's probably going to die, and Nazis are still bad, and now we know. But I guess the question is like, it's kind of like when you see like a senior citizen who's going through the airport with TSA, and they get stopped by the chief of TSA or whatever that means. And, you're always like, are these TSA people literally incapable of breathing through their nose on this level where they think a senior citizen who needs to be pushed in a wheelchair is smuggling drugs for the cartel? But then it turns out literally yes, because the cartel will do that and people need money. It's the root of all evils. But cut everyone a break and I still hate TSA. But the point of what I'm saying here is, you're only as young as you feel. You might live so long that you could outlive the fact you might have been a Nazi at some point, or at the very least kept detailed notes about them. And also, I should point out that the New York Times, the paper of record, this week, the beginning of Hanukkah, had a crossword that looked suspiciously like the symbol of the swastika. I'm not making that up. Maybe it was a subtle code. Maybe it was a cue drop. Maybe it was the last act of Irma Gerd Furchnert, or whatever her name was. But that's true. This New York Times, the paper of record, someone tweeted out a picture that literally showed the crossword for that week, pretty much just being a swastika. And that could obviously be happenstance. That could be an accident. But I'll tell you what, it could also not be. I'm not saying I would know what that could possibly even be at all, but I'll tell you this, and I'm sure a lot of you ignorant dumb fucks who would like Kanye West or Nick Fuentes still probably don't know this, but originally it was an ancient Hindu symbol for people that owned all the banks. And that was such a goddamn perfect joke. That was, in my opinion, one of my best. You know what I mean? Now, hopefully, some of these words thus far have made you feel weird, and that's why I chose them. And I would also like to talk about something else that has come to the attention of the public that Stanford University has put out this week, where they refer to this thing as the Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative, or ELI, which stems from a proposal a group on campus made for the elimination of harmful words. Some of the words on the list including American. And I'm not going to say, hey, let's, turn off Duck Dynasty and head down to Washington, D.C. Or I should probably say head up to Washington, D.C., because geographically I'm just playing the odds that you're probably from the South. But it's a little weird if we got Stanford, the place where, is probably building the supercomputer that will take over people in not that long, is compiling a list of words they think are bad, and among them is included American. Other words on there were like the obvious ones, like you guys is hurtful because not everyone's a guy. Obviously, you might not even know if you're a guy. You might get stung by guy, and then you have to go get a test to see if you are guy or not. You might be guy positive. Who knows? You could be gay. This could be silly. This could all be made up, and it probably fucking is. I'm tired of trying to keep track of it. But anyway, I'll keep going. So other funny phrases on this list were, you should not beat a dead horse, because obviously that could, be popularizing harm to animals. People at Stanford University, some of the brightest minds in theory in this country, they got together and brainstormed and said, we need people to stop using the euphemism, beat a dead horse, because it might inspire additional animal cruelty. Aren't you supposed to be building AI robots? What are you doing? Whose scholarships are getting? How is any of this happening? Aren't you supposed to be Professor X, building Google, taking money from DARPA? What are you doing? Why do you care about dead horses? What is going on? The words are weird. And it's a strange thing, man. Words are weird. And it's strange that now more than ever, people seem to just come to this conclusion. And it's strange that people don't like to hear words that make them feel weird or anything other than good. Those words, the things that do that, to me at least, are some of my favorite. Because you hear a lot of words that don't do anything to you at all. Do you know how many things and conversations you overhear throughout the day that you don't even remember anything about? Random bullshit hitting your ear, going out the other one. There are words that stand out. You'll turn your head when you hear, hey, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You'll turn around when you hear something like that. When you hear one person say to another person, you a soft motherfucker and your mom ain't tall. I heard that once and I was like, blown away. Your mom ain't tall. Who's bragging my mom is tall? And by the way, your mom's not tall. I know the height of all of your moms. Point is, words have meaning and definitions, and Stanford's already using supercomputers, or at least, to be fair, the people trying to build supercomputers, putting out lists of bad words, including Americans and dead horse euphemisms. Great work, way to apply the STEM resources. And if I were to take a guess, if I were to take a swing, I would say there's a good chance some of these people are actually working for China. Not to be the guy that stokes that, but it is also what's going on. Let's face facts. I didn't mean to rhyme, but it's about damn time, and I came to buy a hat. And Colin Coyle and the gang. Anyway, that was weird. But what can you do? It's almost February. Shit. So speaking of super robot computers and AI and stuff and how it might really not be great for us, I saw a story that happened in New York where a woman took her daughter to Madison Square Garden to see the Christmas show. Wonderful story, right? It's a beautiful tale. It's a tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast. You know what I mean? And here's what happened. This woman with her daughter walks into Madison Square Garden and is immediately taken aside by the authorities. And these people ask, "What's your name? What's going on? What are you doing here?" And this woman's like, "Here to see the show with my daughter. What's going on?" And what actually happened is that there is a facial recognition software used by the security at Madison Square Garden. And it's really good. If you've ever seen Person of Interest, it's another example of the government telling you in media, "Hey, this is what we have. Keep up, X-Files." You know what I mean? So this woman was immediately stopped because facial recognition at Madison Square Garden in that short amount of time was able to say, "Brr, this is who this woman is." Now, this woman happened to be an attorney at a law firm in New Jersey that was currently engaged in an ongoing lawsuit with the company that owns Madison Square Garden, the parent company. And because of that, she was prohibited from entering Madison Square Garden through a rule that was already stated. Believe it or not, that's a thing. So this woman had to wait outside as the Rockettes kicked their legs high and everyone was happy because Christmas is here for some correlation, and let her daughter watch the show with nobody, I guess, and then was sold into slavery later and taken to Estonia. No, that's probably not what happened. This is a Christmas story. But I think she went with other family members. The point is, facial recognition software in 1 or 2 seconds flagged a mother and because of her job. And her job revealed a conflict of interest, maybe. And something that really wasn't coming into play. This woman was interviewed by local news because she worked out of a law firm in Jersey. This is not hotshot shit. This is not Legally Blonde. This woman was just trying to see the show. And freaky 1984 Person of Interest Jim Caviezel technology, how about that for a sentence, went, "Oh my God, this woman might create a problem for this giant parent company, this Skynet, if you will, where the Rangers play and the Knicks lose." Sorry, Spike Lee. What can you do? Besides make enemies, that's how you get attention. And these two stories aren't related, obviously, but somehow, to me, in my head, as I took them in, they definitely somehow are. Because Stanford is where where DARPA pays billions and billions of dollars to have people invent things like Google. There's documents to prove that. And work on things like AI robots that will take over the world or be the brain for the collective consciousness. And also, while that is supposed to be happening, we have people compiling a list of bad words like American and stopping animal cruelty through the use of euphemisms. So that's just a little strange. But then at the same time, this dystopian technology that you're not really, I'm finally not totally freaked out because on one hand, if everyone at Stanford who's supposed to be building Skynet is actually freaking out about words like, "What's up, guys?" maybe I don't have too much to worry about. But at the very same time, a woman walks into Madison Square Garden and in 2 seconds, her identity is pulled, her employer information is pulled, people are briefed, she is flagged, and she is thrown out of the stadium. Her child left to just see what happens alone in Madison Square Garden, let's assume for the sake of my example and point. Now, still, again, I still don't think I have to be too freaked out by this impending dystopian technology that's clearly already here, because it at least hasn't spread to everywhere in the world, because it still took the authorities in Poland 2 weeks to find a 97-year-old woman literally, physically on the run. So they don't have access to the same facial technology that we're using at Madison Square Garden to instantaneously ban mothers from attending events with her daughter. But it's already here. Once the box is open, it can't go away. Just like the supercomputer that Stanford is building eventually one day will just take over, and the list of bad words already compiled will be put into effect. You might even by accident, as a euphemism, slip up and now you're just juice for the machine. And of course, I should insert a mom joke here, but I didn't have enough juice for the machine. Okay, all right. You know what? You get it. All right. But I'm just saying it's getting weird. And it seems like I always notice the weirdest or most perverse applications for technology around Christmas time, around the holidays. For some reason, at least for me, maybe it's the increase of Amazon trucks everywhere in the world. It's everyone shopping. It's the extra amount of commercials. It's just Amazon this, buying online, all that. Maybe it's just seeing the ecosystem of technology put on display around the holidays that makes me think, I just feel like maybe we're doing some of this the wrong way. But it's not spreading that fast if a woman in her 90s in Poland can flee for 2 weeks from the police. And then, of course, be found guilty because she was a Nazi. But you can't go see the Rockettes kick real high if you're a lawyer because you might sue us extra more or whatever. Man, fuck whoever owns MSG. Fuck the Dolan family, because I think that's what you're supposed to say to get people in New York to like you. But what's most important is Irma Gerd, have a happy Hanukkah. Sincerely, from me and Pusha T.